My question to all the panelists is that yes, we all spoke about cricket and cricket being India being a cricket crazy nation. But today, if you ask me, I would be hesitant to put my son to play cricket. My son plays tennis, and the reason I put him in tennis is that I know it's an individual game, and I know that he has a lot more chance to survive, thrive, and probably do better. So, are we even? Should we also focus on parents and the population to see that the children, the future generations, can also peter into other sports so that it will also eventually help the economy? I don't know, this is just a thought from my end. Anybody who would venture an answer?
Let him play an individual sport, because then he is trying to beat himself. He is not in team events in India today. There is so much of corruption to get into the 25, then 16. So, at different stages, at every stage, you will be confronted with these forces trying to put you away, trying to put your child down. But if he is an individual, he can excel in, say, athletics. There is timing to prove his worth. Tennis, he is in his own court, he'll win his battle. Same in badminton or table tennis. So, individual sport in India, in today's India, you will have a much better chance to promote your child than a team event, because team sport I am seeing, I every second day I get a call from a parent, मेरे बेटे ने 100 किया उसको नहीं लिया. You can imagine. So, yes, exactly, and there are a lot of issues being faced by administrators, where the pressure is from various forces to put my son, my nephew, my niece. That doesn't work in individual. If your son has run a race in 10.2, 10.3 will not get in. Your son will get in. So it is better to encourage him to play individual sport.
So now we are going to have a panel discussion on sports and economy. We all know that today sports has emerged as an important component for the socio-economic development. So it surely must be having some impact on the economy and the society as well. So let us hear from the experts. Let us hear from the experts what they have to say on this particular topic. So our moderator for today is Dr. Ashutosh Paturkar. Dr. Paturkar is the Dean Academics of Green Heaven Institute of Management and Research. He received his master's degree from YCMU and PhD from RTM Nagpur University. He has many research articles to his credit, and he is a recognized supervisor for the doctoral students of Nagpur University. He also conducts training for various organizations, and he also has written many articles. He is author of the book 5 Elements of Organizational Excellence, and he has been conducting a management development program known as KARM, that is Knowledge and Resource Management for Healthcare Professionals. And during his spare time, he enjoys photography and painting. Welcome, sir. And now I'll be introducing our panelists for today. Our first panelist is Mr. Vijay Lokapalli. Mr. Vijay Lokapalli has written on cricket for more than 3 decades, and he is a widely traveled cricket scribe with the distinction of having reported extensively on the game from practically every international venue. Working since 1986 with The Hindu, a respected national newspaper, Lokapalli sir is acknowledged for his insightful views on the game. Welcome, sir. Now our 2 panelists are Mr. Giri and Mr. Raghu. I'll be introducing them together because they are the friends and they have written the book also together. So I'll give their introduction together. Mr. S. Giridhar and Mr. V.J. Raghunath are colleagues at the Azim Premji Foundation, Bangalore. And Mr. Giri is the CEO of Azim Premji University, one of the earliest member of Azim Premji Foundation. Mr. Giri joined the foundation 18 years ago after 2 decades in business management roles. And Mr. Raghu is a retired chemical engineer who now consults with Azim Premji Foundation. He was a very stylish left-handed batsman and a fearless close-in fielder who thrilled his coaches in school. He was awarded the A.F. Wensley Prize for the most promising schoolboy cricketer for 3 years. And There's now about their friendship. Their friendship began in the year 1984 when they worked at Corborodum Universal Factory at Chennai and played city cricket tournaments together, where Mr. Raghu was a left-handed batter and fearless close catcher who rubbed shoulders with some of the India's best cricketers of the 1960s and 70s in the first division leagues of Chennai and Mumbai. Whereas Mr. Giri bowled leg spin and was also an agile close catcher, though he did not play at the same level. Apart from the mid-wicket tales, they have also jointly written From Mumbai to Durban, that India's greatest test, 2016. And Mr. Giri has also done a detailed study of government school teachers for a very moving and inspiring book, Ordinary People, Extraordinary Teachers, the Heroes of Real India. Welcome to the panel, sir. And last but not the least, our panelist, Advocate Anand Jaiswalji. He has been practicing as an advocate before the Bombay High Court and its subordinate courts at Nagpur since September 1984. He has practiced in the chambers of Shri Vihar Manoharji, former Advocate General of Maharashtra. He was a senior standing counsel to represent the Income Tax Department from April 1999 to 2010. He also represented the Nagpur Police before the Honorable Justice S.S. Dani Commission of Inquiry instituted by the state government to inquire into the stampede leading to the death of 114 Goaris. He was also elected the Secretary of the High Court Bar Association, and later on he was also elected the President of the High Court Bar Association, Nagpur. He was elected the President of Vidarbha Cricket Association for the term 2016 and 19, and he was re-elected again the President of Vidarbha Cricket Association for the term of 2018 to 2021. Welcome to the panel, sir. I request Ashutosh sir to escort all our panelists on the dais, please.
At the onset, I would like to thank VLF for giving me this opportunity to interact with so distinguished authors, administrators. Thank you, VLF, for that. And also thanks to Mr. Raghunath, Mr. Giridhar, Palli sir, all of you. Thank you very much for making it this afternoon. And we are looking forward to a very eventful panel discussion this afternoon. India has seen multidimensional growth in the recent past, right from fertilizers to space. We have seen a lot of development taking place and a lot of economic development taking place here. Sports is a multi-dollar industry in the developed countries, and that's what is making it a driver for their socio-economic growth. Now, the top sporting events rack in billions of dollars in annual revenue, while mega events such as Olympic leads to the very high capital infusion in that country. And this growth has been inclusive as well. In the sense that if we just look at the currently that's going on, the event that's going on, maybe now probably over, is Australian Open. And in 2022, the total revenue generated was 505 million US dollar. One single tournament, and that's the amount of money that is generated, and 74 million was the prize money. So we can understand how much sports really contributes to the economy. And when we are talking about it, when we look at the total 1.4 billion population of India and the contribution of sports and Indian economy, we need to look at with multiple perspectives also. So this distinguished panel will be throwing light on how the sports industry can contribute to the economic development. I will start with you, sir. First, I would like to know how do you see the India's economic growth in sports? We had a legacy of players, and now the amount of money that is coming in is also very high. So, how do you see this?
See, earlier, if you see, let's talk about the domestic cricketers, because that's where the future of cricket comes from. If you talk to the earlier cricketers, when they went for domestic tournaments, you will find that they, traveled by train. Mostly they traveled in the unreserved class. They stayed at small hotels or in, sometimes even in schools and colleges, dormitories. That's not how things are now. And the reason for the change really came about when BCCI realized the importance of the telecast rights. And that's the credit for that must go to Jagmohan Dalmia, because he realized that for the first time. And earlier, BCCI was required to pay for telecast to Doordarshan. Now Doordarshan stands in line, and because of a Supreme Court order, they get some free feed also when matches are being held in India. But it is that growth, because the passion people have for cricket is what has led to this phenomenal growth. Now, if we see this, in the light of this, if we see the growth which has taken place and the figures that you have given and the figures which are always there uh, in the news, the growth is phenomenal. And this is going to increase as the sport penetrates much further. As we were just talking earlier you had cricketers and others coming only from the metros. Now you have people coming from, almost unknown places. That's how the spread is, especially with the digital media. So I see this going very, very further, not only in cricket, but as time passes with other sports as well.
Other sports also, yeah. I mean, we have multiple examples of the Olympic medallions who have not necessarily come from the metros, but they have come from the tier 2 or tier 3 cities as well. Giri sir and Raghu sir, both of you, and Vijay sir also, have extensively written on cricket predominantly. And what we have seen is IPL as a whole new festival season for an ad industry. When, according to the media reports in 2023, the total ad spend on the sports is expected to be around 10,000 crore across TV and digital platforms. And as Sir has just said, Anand Sir has just said that BCCI was actually taking money, and now it's other way down. That is what has happened. So. How much has this helped in employment generation? I will start with you, Raghu sir, as you always say that you are a senior one, so you would like to start with, so I'll start with you, and then I will move to Giri sir and Vijay sir as well.
Most sports were not paying much money during the earlier days. I remember somebody like Venkatraghavan, when he broke into Test cricket, still had to continue to work in SPIC, Parry, India Pistons for almost 15, 20 years to supplement what they earned in cricket. A test match gave them so little money that they've told us stories. Venkat, Prasanna and Chandrasekhar, when they were in England, they would pool their resources together to go out and eat in a hotel and make sure the bill doesn't exceed what they got per day. Today, you know what cricketers earn. They earn from an annual contract, they earn from endorsements, and from various other sources. They are models. I would say the full accounts were there for 2022, and they said the total revenue from sports was 14,200 crores, and that is 1,800 million US dollars. 85% was cricket. Why is cricket fetching so much revenue when there are so many other sports in this country? And now there is enough interest. There is a soccer league and a kabaddi league with franchises.
Badminton.
And I believe a strong reason for cricket being so attractive for advertisers is because naturally cricket encourages advertisement. After every 6 balls, there is a minute and a half break. And you know that after 6 balls, you're going to get that break. So there are people, whether they are selling deodorants or tractors or motor cars, everybody is interested because they know that the TV watching cricket public do not move away from the TV in that 1 minute. For the 3 minute strategic break, they go to the restroom, the wife runs and does something in the kitchen, everything else happens. But you think of tennis, you may say after every 2 games there is a break. But in tennis, you don't know how long that game is going to go on. There may be 7 deuces. So there may be 25 points for a single game. Whereas cricket is so predictable and so easy for endorsements and advertising. So cricket has been, therefore, and the popularity and the quality of the game matching world standards has been the biggest revenue earner. But I do see quite a few other sports getting a lot of popularity in the years to come. Because as a nation, as you said, I think we've become much more sports conscious and fitness conscious. I remember a few months ago, an Indian woman athlete in the 5,000 meters, she beat the other person in the last 50 meters, beat the Japanese girl. And the kind of excitement it revved up in everyone who was watching it, because these forwards in phone get circulated among thousands of people, and I was getting goosebumps. I couldn't even figure out why I was getting so excited. So as a nation, I think athletics, soccer, kabaddi, all these games are going to become very popular. But all they need to do is figure out how they're going to do those breaks so that advertisers can come in with extremely higher predictability.
Absolutely, because cricket is the one game which offers you multiple opportunities to promote your product. The same cannot be said about badminton, where the rallies are very fast and the next rally starts almost immediately. And then there is very little time available for generating revenue also. Giri sir, I would like to know that it has generated a lot of employment, particularly when even if cricket we are watching on TV, the amount of analysis that is being done. Because even in your book also, Mid-Wicket Tells, you have done a lot of analysis, and it's a very critical analysis. No statistician probably has done that earlier. Uh, we have seen technology being used. So there is more employment opportunity created now, even in telecast also. So that's also adding to the economy?
Okay. I'm going to hijack this for a few minutes
Sure.
because I partly disagree with what Raghu said. Because the elephant in the room is the fact that other sports are not in our consciousness. If I ask them, name 4 Indian hockey players who played and got the bronze medal for us in Tokyo Olympics. Name 4 players from IPL RR team. So the answer to the second question will come quickly. The answer to the first question will not come. So it's easy to say that, look, if you encourage kabaddi and football, etc., things will, it will not. I'm talking of hockey. I'm a child of the 50s and 60s. India was Olympic champion in hockey. Even when they were not champion, they were bronze medalist in Munich. At that time in the 50s and 60s, Indian cricket team was not a great team. They were losing regularly to England, Australia. Go outside, they lose to West Indies. The Indian public, even in those days, liked cricket. Number one. Number two, there was no television, etc. There was only radio commentary. So people would listen to radio commentary even when you knew you're losing the series 3-0 to England or West Indies. But if you go to the ground, you will see 25,000 people watching a hockey match. I have watched Durand Cup in your Delhi, Vijay Sahab, where the ground is packed. There was a team called CIL and they are playing Mohan Bagan. Ground is packed. Therefore, the crowds that the game attracted, a football game or a hockey game attracted in India in the 60s to the ground was the same as a Ranji Trophy game would attract people. The asymmetry has happened in the post the explosion of internet, media, television, etc. I still do not, I know I have a hypothesis. So when all that happened, how come hockey didn't have a buyer? How come only cricket had a buyer? If you say Kapil Dev's 83 is the reason, I'll give you from Dhyan Chand onward all the reasons. 1926, 30, 30. I can go on listing. We were champions in hockey. Why didn't hockey take it? If you say hockey today has become a very fast and attractive game, four quarters, 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes. I have 4 slots. And it's not a 1 minute slot. Between each quarter, there's slightly more time. I can do advertisement before, after. Nobody will come. Out of all the revenue and economy that is being generated, we are like a one product company. The vulnerability is so high. You should have multiple products and your profits or your income should be distributed across multiple products. So here you are built an edifice based on one khamba, which is called cricket, without considering any of the other khambas. And the reason for that is we are a cricket crazy nation. We are a cricketer crazy nation. We are not a sporting nation. Now I might get beaten. I might get beaten. We are not players. So for example, in that crowd, let me give you another example. When you watch a cricket match in Australia and a 6 goes into the crowd, 5 times out of 10 the ball is taken by the guy in the crowd. You know why? Because there's a very good chance they played rugby, football, hockey, tennis, cricket, and pakarna आसान है. अपने crowd में देखिए, how many times when a 6 is hit, a guy even gets a palm to the ball? Because we don't play. So the minute we start playing sports and become a sport playing country, they will respect all the sports and the kabaddis and the gulli danda and the hockey and the football, etc. will start getting a traction. Marketers and advertisers are very clear. I'll put my money where there's a chance. Today, the Indian public is crazy only about cricket. I will invest in that. And the Indian public, I don't see any time that they're going to adopt and play other games, because even cricket, they're not players, they're watchers. So I have a slightly different view on it. I have a grim view on it.
My question is the generation of employment. Like, what is happening is, no, either of you can answer, absolutely no problem, because you have traveled globally and you have also seen how the contribution sports has been making to the economy. Even to watch on TV any game, lot of analysis is done by the experts. So there is so much of employment generation taking place, contributing to the economy. Maybe in terms of technology, maybe in terms of the experts' knowledge. So, Vijay sir, your comments on that? It's you have covered it for a very long period, more than 4 decades now. And the way it was covered earlier to the way now it is being covered, there is a vast difference. And that has also contributed to generation of jobs and contribution to economy.
First of all, he's so right when he said they watch, they don't watch cricket, they watch cricketers. So there is a difference.
Yeah.
And we are not a sporting nation. It will take us another 20 years to become a sporting nation. Like he says, he's talked about hockey. If we lost at hockey, I would skip my dinner. But it never happened to me with cricket. I wrote a good report when India lost. So it has to do with the economics of the country. It is also very fashionable to get attached to cricket. If you look at all the big corporate houses, they want to be seen around cricketers, not the game. They don't come and watch test matches. You don't see them at the domestic cricket matches. You'll only see them at IPL boxes, where the broadcaster will focus on them and try to tell you, look how Shah Rukh Khan is so much interested. For him, it is business. Before IPL, he had no interest in cricket, right? So it is, you have to understand, cricket has its own economy to generate. It has created jobs. Infrastructure is one. Equipment is two. Yes. Equipment industry is today thriving. But unfortunately, people are buying bats, yes, but hockey sticks are still not being sold. It's very difficult for them to sell hockey to the masses because it's a very technical sport, it's a very tough sport. And you need a playing surface. like AstroTurf to play good hockey. But cricket, you can just put three stumps and play anywhere, and it's an easy game to follow. Cricket, ball peko or ball maro. So it is. There's a lot of cricket. Also, is lucky. The history has been documented well. Like my two good friends, they have done a beautiful job. You have to admit that unless you document history, the sport will not gain recognition. It will not gain respect. So here, cricket will continue to generate revenue. One, it is seen the whole day. You are seeing it on TV. Like today's news channels on Ram Lalla, whole day it is going on. So you feel as if nothing else is happening. Similarly, in cricket, you will put the match goes on the whole day, and then it stops. Then you have the highlights. Then you have more highlights. So cricket is non-stop on television, and at any point of time, you put on the TV. There is some match going on somewhere in the world, a live match. So I think it has. You have to give it to the administrators. They have reaped revenue out of it. They have been able to cling to the fact that it can generate revenues. It attracts sponsors. Like I said, sponsors also have a competition among themselves to attach themselves with the team, and it's a very glamorous sport now. It is so much of glamour in cricket. It will continue to generate revenues which will be beyond other federations who have to depend on government support. I think one of the topics we were to talk is government support. So cricket doesn't need. Every other sport in this country needs government support.
Yeah, we will come to the government support in time to come. Yeah. Sorry,
You were
can you use the
talking
mic?
about generating more employment.
Employment and contribution to the economy.
Opportunities.
And yes.
That's true, because we have been meeting earlier. Cricket was broadcast on the radio, later it was TV, but now accompanying the team are so many other trainers, fitness coaches, a batting coach, a bowling coach, and data analysis. There are companies in Chennai which are only doing data analysis of every match that is happening in this country. And that is generating a lot of employment. Sports mechanics in Chennai, run by Mr. Ramakrishnan, has now about 150 people who are sitting there generating data and collating that data and making it available. And just now I saw that all the franchises in India, cricket, soccer, and kabaddi, where there are, for each franchise team, they are generating data on how many people watched on TV, how many people had a conversation on Twitter, Instagram, and what else, and how that is growing. And all the advertisers are looking at this kind of data to put more money into it. So it's generating huge employment in the periphery, in digital and TV.
Exactly. I mean, sir, you wanted to make a
just
point.
wanted to
Yeah.
add on this.
Yes.
I mean, we have been talking about telecast rights and the other things which are there. But let's get down to the nitty gritty. Let's take an example, say, one team, say with the Vidarbha Cricket Association, which I was associated with. One team, you select 15 players. Besides the 15 players, you have a manager, you have a coach. Okay, I'm not talking now of fitness coaches or other things, just the basic requirements.
Yes.
A manager, a coach, you have a physio, you have a trainer,
Nutritionist.
and no, I'm talking that will be
Broadly,
for everybody.
broadly.
So just for one team, at least these people will be there. So there will be about 20 people. Now this team plays half its matches at home in the format that we have, and half the matches outside. So they'll be traveling to different places in the country. So airline tickets,
Yes.
okay, buses to ferry them to the airport, away from the airport, to the venue, away from the venue, catering staff, because now they have to be fed well, they have to be looked after, hotels. Earlier, as I said, they were staying in just makeshift areas. Now they stay in good hotels, not because there's money, but because they realize the importance of making them comfortable so that they can put in everything for the game that they have the next day. Right? So then we also found that it's necessary to use cargo. What happens, when a cricketer travels, he carries with him a huge set of baggage.
Yeah, right.
Besides his clothes, number of clothes which he has got, he also carries with him a big kit, bats, all the equipment, other things which are there. Then you spend time at the airport paying the excess fee for the weight, etc. So we found a solution to that. We said we will transport your entire kit by cargo. So if somebody is traveling, a team is traveling, say to Delhi for a match, what we do is the one day earlier we take their entire kit from them. It goes in cargo. It's waiting for them when they reach the hotel there. So the players are very comfortable. They are not bothered about these things. The idea is to make the players also comfortable, feel that that they are being looked after, catered to. So this is also an employment generation which is there. Besides that, infrastructure is very important.
Yes, and
Now,
that's what I was coming to, the
yeah,
sporting infrastructure at various
like
levels.
Nagpur has developed infrastructure. Everybody looks at Jamta because that is what is telecast. But besides Jamta, you have the old stadium where we still play cricket. Besides that, we have another ground at Kalamna where matches are played. Now we have developed one match in LAD College which is used exclusively for ladies cricket. So this infrastructure is not developed easily. It requires a lot of money, a lot of effort. BCCI helps out, no doubt, with that, and you must give the benefit to them that they have ensured that this happens. Looking after the infrastructure once it is developed is again totally another story.
Correct.
It's one of the most expensive things that is done. I don't think other sports require so much infrastructure to be maintained as cricket does. So all this generates the economy eventually.
Correct.
It provides for jobs, it provides for employment, everything is there. So we are talking of one team. Now Vidarbha would have at least 4 teams on the men's side and 4 teams on the girls' side. Right? So 8 teams in Vidarbha, 35 associations in India. So you multiply it, you get your mathematics. One association like Vidarbha has about an income, according to their last balance sheet, was 128 crores. Right? Now, this is coming from various sources. This is coming from media rights from the BCCI. This is coming from advertisement. When there's a local match held, the match fees, the tickets which are there. Of course, everything goes back into cricket. But this is the level at which the economy in one association takes place. Now you multiply it by 35, you see how much it is contributing to the economy.
Exactly. Vijay sir, what I'm trying to understand is we are talking about only one sport right now. There have been multiple other sports also, but there are other things also which get benefited, like tourism. He mentioned about the hospitality industry, but tourism also gets developed. The infrastructure that is developed can be used for tourism also. Like if I have to take the example only of Nagpur, Nagpur has become a tiger capital. And now there are tourists coming not just for cricket but for other things also. So that also has been contributing to the economy. Job creation, local guides, their training, their trainers, etc. So other countries also, because you have traveled extensively across the world, so other countries, how they are using or leveraging the the sporting infrastructure developed, how that is being used to leverage tourism by other countries.
See, I think most of them, if you see Australian Open, it is used for tourism by Australia, and they have a fixed calendar. You know that there will be a Boxing Day test matches there, Lords in England. But in India, I think the only place where they have tried to do it is Dharamshala, where they've tried to combine tourism with cricket. The Dalai Lama visit, and the McLeod Ganj, and there are some temples around the place. So Dharamshala is a good place for tourism, which they have exploited. They sell cricket around the beauty of the stadium. And even otherwise, when you go to Dharamshala, if no cricket is happening, there is a stadium visit where they take you around the place and show you, you can take pictures. Otherwise, I don't think there are any venues in India where this is promoted. They won't let you inside. So forget tourism. To get into Wankhede Stadium, yeah, I mean, it's not easy, even Vidarbha Cricket Stadium. You will not allow anyone to just come and see the stadium. You'll have to have permission. But other places, they have developed. You look at Lords, there is a Lords tour. People
Yes.
go and take a tour of the ground, take pictures. You go to Wimbledon.
Wimbledon. I mean, I was
Wimbledon, you
about to
can
talk.
you sit in the winner's seat and
Yes.
give a press conference. So you're like a champion sitting there. Similarly, Melbourne Open, similarly, US Open, they encourage you to come and watch. Here we don't. So it will take a while for us to have cricket tourism like the series. You will have certain spectators coming from England, where a former player will bring them along, tell them how to teach them how to watch, tell them the better the nuances of the game. But we don't encourage that. We don't have such a system. My friend Dwarkanath Sansgiri, he tried
Yes.
twice. He took tours to Colombo,
Huh.
and he would sit with them. He would get a local Sri Lankan player to come and discuss. But then he found out it was tough. It was not working. So cricket tourism or sports tourism in India is a far-fetched idea. It will take a while, and for that I think administrators will have to. You are there. You can take a
Yes.
take the first step and invite people to come and watch a match at Jamtha and go on a Tadoba trail. So it can be combined, you can work it out.
So the development of the sporting infrastructure can be leveraged for tourism and developing more jobs also. But we are somehow lacking in that right now.
Lacking because cricket administrators will have to take the first step.
Okay, fine. Giri sir, you have talked about the role of the government to a certain extent that they have to have some kind of a role to be performed in developing other sports. Cricket has become virtually self-sufficient now. There has been a Britannia Tennis Foundation. We have people like Leander Paes and Mahesh Bhupathi coming out of it, winning multiple doubles Grand Slams also. We have right now world number one doubles player in tennis also. So, do you think the corporates also should invest and leverage more through other sports as well, so that they contribute to the economy and employment generation?
Yes, certainly. You're talking of BAT.
Yeah.
That is
Yes.
okay, that is a nice thing, but I don't see where it is now.
No, it is no more functional.
Because India's number one singles tennis player, Sumit Nangal, publicly announced that his bank balance is 90,000 rupees or something like that.
Yeah, having made it to the second round of
whatever.
Australian Open, he was very happy.
Luckily, he's now made a crore or something by entering by
Second
reaching the
round.
second round
Second.
of the Australian Open. That will carry him for a year. That's the extent of that's the situation. A person like Bopanna is well taken care of because he's now 43, which means luckily he played good doubles over a period of time. Most of them are able to survive like that. Otherwise, you need support. It's extremely difficult. Individual sport, whether it is badminton or tennis, I can understand the difficulty. I think it's much more easier when you have a team sport. I don't understand how a hockey team or a football team or teams playing decent level of team sport which the country understands, that should be supported. Today you see Neeraj Chopra everywhere, but Neeraj Chopra is only an advertising face for products who can come in front of a crime series, thriller on web series or in front of anything else. It's not Neeraj Chopra promoting sport itself. Neeraj Chopra is like Shah Rukh Khan or Amitabh Bachchan or Kohli. He is the advertising face of a product. So it's very difficult. So even tomorrow, for example, if Nangal had made it, let's say, to quarterfinals, I bet he would have got endorsements. But the endorsement is for him to endorse products which can be placed in front of any general web series or TV, etc. So it's a very difficult thing. I don't have an answer. All I can say is that it's unhealthy. Today, cricket is able to do all this because cricket is earning. You ask a question about the other countries. 40% of the world's cricket revenues are from here. When BCCI earns this, the kudos to them that they're plowing it back in the game. So you have fantastic India A tours. You have the India under 19 system. Vijay was mentioning today, was it at breakfast or was it subsequently, about the bench strength you're able to develop across the country for fast bowlers. Tomorrow, for example, suddenly you realize that after Ashwin and Jadeja, we don't have spinners. They'll do something about it, and because they can put their money and might into a grassroots level hunt. In hockey, it's all by themselves. So that's the difficulties. And who will take it forward? Today, even in cricket, IPL happened. And IPL, because the crowd wanted IPL also. Hockey, nobody is convinced that they will want it. Football, we should. We did reasonably well now. We are 90 or 80 or 90 in the world listing. We almost were fighting for a qualifier for the World Cup. If I'm not mistaken, we lost out. Football is played by people, and yet you don't see the power of that being backed by money. So you need to plow and invest money in it before you can see anything come out of it. I see a long haul. I don't see light at the end of the tunnel for other sports. These Olympic blips will come, Commonwealth Games will come, Asian Games will come, but they are all blips. There's nothing consistent in the system to support sports. That's my worry.
That's right. I mean, what we have seen in the cricket also, that there has been a lot of investment that is done by the clubs and the sports personnel also, to a large extent. And that has helped being very, very competitive at the global level. And I still remember in 79 and others, not many A teams of the other countries were willing to come to India. And now they are willing to come to play IPL even in the midsummer in India. Best of the players, they are coming here. So, what exactly cricket has done, and is it possible to replicate in other sports?
Number one, I don't think cricket has done it. I think it is the eyeballs in the country. As I said, that we are a cricketer crazy nation. So everybody looks for, when you watch TV, you want to see how Virat is doing, you want to see how somebody else, Rohit, is doing or somebody else is doing overall, right? So that is what has happened. What BCCI has very successfully done is harness this for the purpose of revenue generation. Since we have the largest eyeballs in a cricket playing country and now of course in the world also, so that power has been harnessed. But unless that kind of interest is developed in other sports, you are not going to have this kind of development from there. Right? Second, as Vijay was saying, that administrators have to do something, but their hands are tied because the Supreme Court in its judgment says that you can do only cricket, you can't do anything else. Right, so even we had a recreation club, we had to separate that out. So only cricket and nothing else. So if we try say tourism, probably we'll get chopped down by the Supreme Court again.
Okay, but that can be leveraged not necessarily by the cricket per se, but the economy can leverage that, having developed infrastructure. There are a lot of questions from my side, but it's time for us to keep it to the open to the audience as well. So, in the event if there are any questions from the audience, please raise your hand. Request with respect to your question. Keep the question relevant. Yeah, we have a question there from the lady. If you can pass on the mic, please.
Hi, good afternoon to everyone. My question to all the panelists is that yes, we all spoke about cricket and cricket being India being a cricket crazy nation. But today, if you ask me, I would be hesitant to put my son to play cricket. My son plays tennis, and the reason I put him in tennis is that I know it's an individual game, and I know that he has a lot more chance to survive, thrive, and probably do better. So are we even should we also focus on parents and the population to see that the children, the future generations can also peter into other sports so that it will also eventually help the economy? I don't know, this is just a thought from my end. Anybody who would venture an answer?
Opening batsman. Um, Children of your son's age group, how many of them play tennis? Very few. So he will have to do it himself. Now, on the other hand, most of those children play cricket of various levels. Their parents allow them to play not because they think they'll become the next Virat Kohli, but they think it's a good physical activity, affordable, possible, etc. In a group, child will learn something, etc. It is the same with other games. So, a team sport versus an individual sport, the difference is in an individual sport, even if it is chess, the mother and father have to take the child along every step of the way, and the child must be fortunate enough to have well off parents who can support the child all the way. Even in chess, you might think there's no equipment, but the child needs a lot of help with analysis, a child needs personal coaching. And therefore, to invest in a child's sport like that is costly. That's a huge investment, and very few people in the country have the luxury to help their child along a journey in squash or tennis or individual sport. That's the reality. Sport, as he says, ball balla leke chale jao, cricket khel ke aa jao sham ko, is different. Knowing that the guy will play at school or college level, and even if he doesn't play at that level, koi farak nahi padta.
Another aspect of this is that cricket is probably the only sport which now, and if you play at any decent level, you can make a living. You can't do that in other sports unless you are winning. In cricket, if you are chosen for the Ranji Trophy in your senior team, you get paid a decent salary by the BCCI. You can make a decent living on that, and besides having a chance to go further. Not only that, later on when you retire, you get a pension. Right? The BCCI gives you a pension. Many of the state associations like VCA give pensions to those who are not qualified for the pensions from BCCI. So this is an aspect which is also there behind the parents' minds. When they put their children into play, that yes, he may succeed, he may do this as a career. This would not have been there 20 years ago or when we were young. Then this was not so. They would say that you first concentrate on your studies. There is no question of playing. Playing will come afterwards. As you also pointed about Venkat Raghavan, he had to work, as did most of the cricketers at that time. They had to work to make two ends meet. So I think that's also one of the main reasons.
I think if you
A
want
quick
to
word.
encourage your child, let him play an individual sport, because then he is trying to beat himself. He is not in team events in India today. There is so much of corruption to get into the 25, then 16. So, at different stages, at every stage, you will be confronted with these forces trying to put you away, trying to put your child down. But if he is an individual, he can excel in, say, athletics. There is timing to prove his worth. Tennis, he is in his own court, he'll win his battle. Same in badminton or table tennis. So, individual sport in India, in today's India, you will have a much better chance to promote your child than a team event, because team sport I am seeing, I every second day I get a call from a parent, मेरे बेटे ने 100 किया उसको नहीं लिया. You can imagine. So, yes, exactly, and there are a lot of issues being faced by administrators, where the pressure is from various forces to put my son, my nephew, my niece. That doesn't work in individual. If your son has run a race in 10.2, 10.3 will not get in. Your son will get in. So it is better to encourage him to play individual sport.
Yeah, well, our last question from the lady there. Yeah.
Hello everyone, I am Anisha Kumbhalkar and I am a national level chess player. I absolutely agree with what Sir said, but I wanted to know like what is the future of chess or any other indoor game in our country? As you said that Neeraj Chopra is very famous prodigy, then what about Vishwanathan Anand, Pragyananda? Why are they so underrated?
Why do you get this feeling that they are so underrated? Who told you?
No, like we see them everywhere, like Neeraj Chopra and other sports players, but like also Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, everyone is so famous, but no one pays that much attention towards like indoor games. Yes.
Do you know Anand, if he walks in the street in Spain, he gets mobbed?
Vishwanathan.
Yes. He is mobbed. And if he has to go to a place, he has to book a table and ensure that there is privacy. He won't be disturbed. But it's not Anand's fault that if he walks here in Sitabardi and people don't recognize him, it's not his fault. He is world famous. Wherever chess is played, he is a big icon and a real sportsman. You know, he's so humble. You call him to Nagpur tomorrow, he will come for you. If you tell him you want to learn chess. But Neeraj Chopra is a separate thing. It's a, I mean, he's an Olympic champion. But Vishwanathan Anand or Pragnananda, they are very, very popular. They are very highly rated and respected by sports lovers and the government.
One more thing which I'd like to add to this is that put the cricketers aside. Don't compare them with cricketers. Okay, cricketers are on a different level totally for whatever reasons, good or bad. Just leave them aside. If you talk about other sports, right? Now, if you talk about Vishwanath Anand and Pragananda, most people would have heard of them, right? If they see a photo, they will most probably recognize them. What about hockey? How many of you all would know the names of the hockey players or would you recognize them? So it's not that they're not recognized or anything. Yeah, it's not about indoor or outdoor either. So it depends from game to game. Chess has been getting a good following now, especially with these people doing well. And I'm quite sure that the more they do well, the more popularity will be there for that game also.
Please
Thank
keep
you.
playing chess.
Yes, sir. Sure.
Right, thank you. So, what we do conclude is that
One last question. You're talking about sports and economy. How do you see, and the success of IPL in the country in the last 12 years, how do you see the participation of investors and owners of large clubs globally? For example, the football clubs. They are all owned by big-time investors, big-time sports fans. How do you see their participation coming into the country?
I heard that Aramco and Saudi Petroleum are already investing in franchises in India. And I believe that a lot of people will invest in franchises if it's going to make a lot of money for them. And I don't know, I can see a day not too far in the future where maybe an Ambani or a Tata will be owning Chelsea or Arsenal.
Sir, we are completely out of time. I mean, that's a big problem because we have got the next session lined up here. But all the panelists are going to be here. Maybe we can take it offline as well. What we conclude is that the sports has a huge contribution that has made to the Indian economy. Cricket has done 80% plus, but other sports have also started contributing to that, including tennis, badminton, as you mentioned about the chess and other sports as well. But the potential is still untapped. So there is a huge scope available for the sports to contribute to the economy the way it has been contributing in the other fields as well. Like as I said, right from fertilizers to the space, India has been doing outstanding. So there is a potential, and India will do well in the sports as well and contribute to the economy in time to come. Thank you very much, all the panelists here. It was wonderful interacting with you all. And thank you very much, audience and the readers as well. Thank you very much for your participation. Back to the anchor. Thank you.
Thank you all of you. Please wait. We have certain announcements to make. Also, VLF in alliance with Mahametro, we are running a year-long contest that is hashtag Read and Write. So whenever you are boarding the metro and if you are reading any book, just click your selfie and put it up on your social media handle, tagging Mahametro and Vidarbha Lit Festival. There will be a lot of prizes to be given. The first prize is books worth rupees 10,000 rupees, and the second prize is books worth rupees 5,000 rupees. The second contest that we have is make your own bookmark, wherein the bookmarks are available with us. You can collect it from the counters and prepare your own bookmark. Again, you can put that bookmark up on your social media handle and tag Mahametro and Vidarbha Literature Festival. You will get, the best one will get a book from today's session, any book that is available with crossword, that will be given as a prize to them. So thank you so much. But before we end, we have some tokens for our panelists. So I would like to just hand it over to them. These are the monuments of Nagpur, and they are designed and printed in a handmade card. So this is for Giri sir. This is for Ravi sir. This is for Anand sir. Thank you. And sir, there is the one in and this is for Ashwin sir, our moderator. Thank you so much, sir, for this.